I'm sure we'll have a lot of people that have been going through their houses while they've been home. They will have a lot of things. So that's why we tell people, make sure you call if you have things you would like to donate, because we anticipate there may be a bit of a flood of people. Okay, so tonight we're going to be highlighting some artifacts from our collection, and we have a lot of stuff, and any volunteers that were with us last year that helped us after we had the pipe burst, helped us move a lot of stuff. You know that there's a lot of things that are not on display in the museum, so today we'll be highlighting just a lot of kind of random artifacts and things that people may have seen, and some things that are in the museum, but just neat things that we have in our collection that have a story behind them, or that help us to tell the story of a family or a business or a building or things like that. So I will share my screen.
There we go.
And Virginia always says that history is old, heavy, and dirty, and we know we have lots of very, very big things in our collections. The poster we have here that is down, you can see it down in our lobby, and there's a copy up here in the library and archives that used to be for sale. It shows a lot of our very large items. A lot of the items that we'll be highlighting today are smaller things, things that may have made it out into past exhibits, or just the neat things that we have that maybe they're just looking for the right exhibit to be out at, but it's nice to be able to highlight them this way and we do it on Facebook, and we can share them in the paper and things like that. So we'll be doing some of that. This is being recorded, so we'll be able to share it later. And if you guys have any insights to share, everybody automatically came in on mute, but feel free to add any information in about anything that you might see that we can add to what we know about an item or a business or a people or place or whatever it's related to. We've got the chat function down at the bottom of your screen that you can, you'll see the little chat box. If you want to post a question in the chat or make a comment in the chat, you can do that there. Or if you think of something later, I've had a lot of people that have been emailing after these and sending more information and pictures, and it's been really great. So feel free to do that. You can send it to clarkcountyhistory@gmail.com, and it's always wonderful to have more information to add. Especially we have our computer system where we are able to put in information about artifacts and items and things in our archives and objects that we have, and it's always great to be able to add a little bit more information to stuff if someone can give us more about an item. So I wanted to start by showing you a view of our collection storage area at the Heritage Center. If you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know that this is not our collection storage area. But we joked that there was a time last year when we had emptied everything out of the collection storage area while they were rebuilding after the pipe burst, and we had boxes stacked up in rows in our rotating gallery, that it kind of felt a little bit like that when you pushed carts through the area, that you felt like you were in the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So this next picture is what our collection storage areas currently look like. We've got our library and archives up on the 3rd floor, which we had to completely take down all the shelves and take everything out last year after the pipe burst, but we were able to put it all back together, and it is in semi close to the same order as it was. So we were very lucky there that we were able to put a lot of things back. The 2nd floor collections area are a bit of a different story. We'd had a very wonderful long time inventory that we've been working on since about 2013 that gave you a shelf by shelf inventory of exactly what was in the box and what shelf it was on. We've lost that level of organization. with everything having to be moved out of all of the rooms. But we are working towards getting back there. So you'll see there's some boxes in the rooms now that are temporarily repacked. So we'll be working on continuing to repack items. And the rest of this year has gotten a little shaken up than what everybody expected to. So that we'll just keep plugging away at getting stuff back into the order that we had it in, and getting the rooms back into so that we can find everything as easily as we used to. So this is we'll be highlighting stuff from our collections area on the second floor, and a few things that you can find up in the library and archives that are connected to those items. So this whole talk started out of in this whole if anyone follows our Facebook page, we do a regular who, what, where is it feature on Wednesdays, and we alternate a who, a what, or a where is it. And it started with very much a what is it that one of our volunteers, our Wednesday volunteers, Marguerite, brought in. I'm not sure how she ran across it, but she brought this item in and said she had no idea what it was. Did we know what it was? And we didn't know. So we shared it on Facebook to see if anybody knew, and we got a few good ideas. We still don't know exactly what it is. People suggested it was some sort of maybe a furniture alignment tool for or a jig or a vice clamp, some sort. We couldn't quite figure out how it would work, but we've never been able to find anything on Google Images or anything on Google or anything about furniture making or anything like that lines up. It looks
like an ad for a headache remedy.
put your head in there.
Yeah, I think by the end we were considering that it might have been a tool someone made specifically for a task, that it wasn't something mass produced, that it might have been something an individual craftsman made.
But this was back in 2012, so it was 8 years ago now that we got this item, and it got a really big, Facebook was still kind of new for businesses to use, so it got a big response, and we thought, oh, well, we've got lots of things in our collection. We can ask people what they are. I mean, and not just stuff that we don't know what it is. We do still have stuff we don't know what it is, but stuff that we do know what it is, but we want to know if you know what it is. So
it looks like a screw holder.
So yeah, we still haven't quite figured it out, but that's kind of, we started doing that as a regular thing. That first year we just shared artifacts from the collection, and then we started cycling in photographs of people and places to do that as well. So this was one of the first ones that year when we, in 2012, when we started, we put it in the paper to tell people, hey, we're doing this. What is it on our Facebook page? Come guess what things are. So this was one of the first things, then it's what we highlighted in the newspaper. Does anyone have any idea what this item is?
The slightest.
Here, I'll show you a picture of it being used. There you go. In the middle of the picture there. It was a corkscrew picket that was used. So they were used during World War I. They could be easily screwed in like a corkscrew. They have that corkscrew in there. So they could be screwed in quietly. So they could put up the barbed wire fences. And they were used on both sides during the war, on either side of no man's land. And they would send out wiring parties at night to put the fences together. The way we ended up with one in our collection is that Lee Bailey, who had served in World War I, somehow ended up with one. I really wish we had that part of the story. It came, it has a great little tag on it that says that it came from Mr. Bailey and that he donated it in 1965, but we don't have the story of how he ended up having this in his possession. We do know he served, but I can't imagine that he just stuck it in his pocket and took it home. It might have been something that he ended up getting later. I looked a little more into this and found that you could still find them buried in fields in Europe. But Mr. Bailey was the son of William Bailey, who started the William Bailey Company that made windows here in town. We have a huge collection from William Bailey that includes lots and lots and lots of pictures of places where they put windows in. So how about this one? This one is in the museum.
It's a canister for the
Ceasefire.
armistice.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is I think one of the neatest items that we have. It is the armistice canister, the message canister that carried the message of the end of the World War I. This is another one where I really wish we knew how he ended up bringing it home. But the gentleman who delivered the news of the end of the war, his name was Leon Roth, and he was a soldier with the 319th Signal Battalion, and he delivered that message on November 11th, 1918. And he, oh, did someone say something about their grandfather? Someone's grandfather?
Yeah, the Garnet Meeks, she's passed away now. She's pretty well known in Springfield as a bowler and so forth. And I think John Samoski's wife, who I think is also has passed away, but they were related to Roth.
Oh.
In fact, their last name was Roth.
Really, that's interesting. I wonder. I'm hoping that somehow we can get a little more information. There was a great little booklet that was done on the 50th anniversary of World War I, where they have a little interview with him where he talks about the whole story of how he delivered the message. He took it from the Ferdinand Folk's Army headquarters in Campaign Forest, and then he took it to Pershing's headquarters, which was about 30 minutes away. He didn't know what was in there. He didn't know what the message was that he was carrying, but he delivered it, and they came back out and they said, "You just delivered us the best news. The war is over." And so I imagine he said, "Well, I'm taking this with me," and stuck it in his. I wonder how he ended up. He doesn't tell the story of why he has the canister, but that's kind of what I imagine.
It might have been bestowed upon him as a kind of award or something.
Possibly. But he lived in Springfield for most of his life. He went to St. John's Lutheran, and he was a custodian there, and he died in 63 and lived on High Street. So the story that is in the little booklet from the 50th anniversary, it talks about that that there was here, I've got another picture of it here. So here you can see Roth, that when World War II began, we have these pictures here of Hitler had taken that same train car where he had gone to get the message and brought it to where they could sign the what's the date? The June 22nd, 1940 armistice that established the occupation zone in northern and western France. He took the train car there because it was to him a symbol of France's defeat in World War I. So he brought it for them to sign this occupation treaty in 1940. And we have a copy of these pictures here because they were given to us to make copies of, because there was someone local that had these pictures because they had been taken from a captured soldier's camera, and they ended up with copies of these pictures. And we got copies of, which is a very direct connection to this canister we have. But we've got also pictures of Mr. Roth and the awards that he was given. And here he is on the second floor in the military gallery, and you can see the canister on display there. And behind it is the Last Man's Club photo of the men in World War I that served. There was 100 of them that were part of a Last Man's Club. We've got. Does anyone know what this is?
Norton bomb site?
Yes, this is the Norton bomb site, and I believe just this front piece is part of Norton. The back one is a separate bomb site. We've later found out we have both in our collection, and for a while they were both labeled as being part of Norton bomb site, but we believe this is a Sperry piece back here. But the front one is we've got this handy little graphic that explains how it works. And it was developed by a Dutchman named Carl Norton, who's shown here. And it helped make it so that you could, bombardiers could drop with precision. They could get within a 100-foot radius from 20,000 feet. So the role that Springfield played in that was Robbins and Myers built the motors that were used in the bomb site here. And by the end of the war, that had become 80% of their production capacity was focused on making the motors for the bomb sites. And they were awarded one of several companies in town that was awarded the Army Navy E Award for their war production work. And another local connection to making the bomb sites was Carl Steinkamp, who's shown over here. He helped develop the calibration stands that were used for the bomb sites. And those were made by Parker Sweeper, another local company that changed their production lines during the war to make things for the war effort. And I don't know if anyone, Phil Steinkamp is the son of Carl here. Okay, here's another artifact that we have. This one is on display in the museum.
The brick maker?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Larry, our docent, you recognize it. This is in a case of patent models that we have in our Gateway Gallery, because well, it was easier to carry around little models of things than the actual thing if you were trying to make a sale of an item. So we have lots of small models in that case for inventions that were granted patents for him here. So this is a brick maker, and here's an image here to give you an idea. I was trying to figure out how this thing worked. It's like one of those little Play-Doh extruders. You could stack up your clay in there, and it would extrude out the brick, and you could cut it off. This one was an 1867 model by Hotchkiss and Buss, and up here is the patent drawing for it. It shows it was patented in September 1867. And this is a picture of a similar style machine that was in Scientific American around the same time period.
Patent models aren't required anymore.
They're not, just the drawing. I think it would be neat to have I wonder if there's a patent model museum that just has all the little tiny models.
There is a patent model. One of the couple people bought out many of the patent models, and it's been a collection. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would be neat to see tiny little versions of things with information about them. But these are pictures of some early brick homes in the area. This is the Simon Kenton homestead. Simon Kenton homestead and the Crable house. And this is a picture from the 1973 restoration with George Burkhofer there, who worked on the restoration. The house was built in 1826, and Simon Kenton was 1830s, I think. So they're both too early for this handy brick making machine. So they would have, the brick making machines made the process of making bricks go much faster, and they were more efficient so that brickyards could be smaller. This one made it so it was more revolutionary because you could hack and stack easier, and it meant you could use smaller brickyards. But I just wanted to show a couple examples of some early brick homes that would not have benefited from an invention such of this at the time. It was